Hey, what's up, everybody? This is the second part that I'm making on my hike of the Ironton Trail. Had another topic in mind for this video, and it's about, it's another video about the logic and the science of, the logic behind, I guess this one's not so much about logic as it is about spirituality and pointing out some pretty rough views that I've seen about being transgender in the spiritual community. But this is about justifying being transgender through spiritual concepts. So I first want to talk about how in the realm of spirituality, the soul and everything is intrinsically genderless. Because, like, when you think about it, once a soul, like, everything is connected, everything is one. And now, I know that some people don't believe in souls, and so I want to relate to them on this subject too. So, by speaking in a manner which aligns with them in a way. So, like, before I get into it, I want to talk about the interconnectedness of all beings and how everything is one giant living organism that does not function autonomously from the whole. Every one of us is a part of the earth, and the earth is a part of the universe. This is evident through the fact that as we're growing in our mother's womb, the nutrients that the mother consumes all comes from the earth. Even if it's like a burger from McDonald's, let's say, or food filled with microplastics, that at one point did come from the earth. And everything that we are made up of came from the earth at one point, because the earth provides us with our nutrients, and we're made from that nutrients because we sustain ourselves from it for our entire lives. And then our mothers give birth to us through that nutrients. We're born from the earth itself. And everything in the earth originally came from a star which went supernova, and so did our star. Everything kind of comes from one place. Everything comes from one source. Everything originates from this one place that we call the universe. And so, in our base forms, in the the smallest, if you grind away everything that is our body, everything that's our physical body, if you take all of that away and look at yourself, where you came from in your base form, you came from the stars. You came from the earth itself. And so everything is this one being. And everything that kind of takes your attention away from that is just a distraction. And when you look at the human body, when it comes to the soul, I want to explain it in a way that doesn't rely on calling it the soul. It could be the energy that exists within all beings, and all beings do hold energy within themselves, and that's a scientific fact. And energy can't be created by the laws of physics. Energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only be moved, transformed, or transferred into other places. And there is electrical energy that happens inside of our brains and gets sent throughout our body every time we make a movement. our nerves send electrical signals to our brain as we move. And when you research electrical energy and energy in general, it holds information. You'll see that it holds information. Everything that we do, that information gets recorded within the electrical energy that's within our bodies. And now, because energy can't be created or destroyed, that means that when we die, the energy either goes into a negative charge and needs to be recharged in order to be reactivated, or it gets transferred to somewhere else. Which means that all of that information that gets recorded by the energy which exists within us all and flows through us all is still around somewhere. That information is stored within that energy. And because energy can't be created or destroyed, that means that that information is still alive somewhere. It might not be active because the energy is experiencing a negative charge. But even if that's the case and it's not active anymore, that means that its charge can be restored into being a positively charged again. And so in our base forms, all we really are is energy. That's what our body is made up of. And so you might not agree with this, but I call that the soul. It's okay if you don't agree with this, and I'm not trying to convince anybody of that. But what I am trying to convince people of is that we're more than just our physical bodies. We're more than just this thing that the universe kind of drives around as a vessel to interact with its creation. Because we're the whole. We're not just this one individual, we're the whole. And we're the energy which flows through everything. So when you take that into consideration, everything that we are in the physical realm is just a mental construct of our observation of the physical realm. That includes gender, that includes time, that includes race, that includes sex, that includes just everything that you see and you observe. It's all kind of just an illusion. None of it is really separate from you. And nothing is, as for who we are, is really set in stone, because everything is ever changing. And if we are to believe that we're this energy, we're not just the physical body, but we're the energy that flows through everything, then in order to accurately define a person, you need to take that energy into consideration. And you can't just take their physical body into consideration. You have to look at what they are in their base form. And anything that you purely observe through observance of the physical body will end up inaccurate, because you're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not looking at the whole of what they are. You're not looking at what they are deep inside of themselves. And so my opinion on the soul, this isn't directed towards the atheists who might be watching. This is directed towards those who have spiritual beliefs and use their spiritual beliefs as a way to justify their hatred of transgender people. When you look at the soul, the soul is formless until you give it shape. The soul doesn't have a gender, because it's an energy that just exists within us all. And energy is intrinsically genderless. Inherently genderless, too. Intrinsically and inherently genderless. So, if we are to believe that energy is the origin of our consciousness, is the starting point of our consciousness, then we also have to believe that the physical body doesn't matter when taking a person's identity into consideration. It doesn't matter when taking a person's the physical form shouldn't be taken into consideration when considering what a person is. And that's a very important thing to remember in spiritualism. Because like, if our consciousness, because like we all have the inherent ability to be able to have control of our energy, to be able to have the control of the energy of the whole as well. If you believe in spiritual beliefs, if you have a spiritual belief system, we all have the ability to shape our own energy and the energy of the world around us. So that means if we are energy in our base form, that means we also have the ability to shape that energy into the form we wish for it to take, into the form which is the most comfortable. Which, if you are trans and you feel that you're a woman mentally, then it probably means that your soul likes to take the shape of a feminine figure. And that's perfectly fine. And there's a lot of people who agree with what I'm saying, who agree with the fact that the idea that we can shape who we are in our souls as much as we want, but they're still very rejecting towards trans people, which is weird to me, but they do have a justification for it, which I'll get into. Basically, what they say is, well, it's not really even a justification. It's like really weird and vague logic as to why. They basically say that yes, your energy takes form as whatever it wants to be, but for some reason in the physical world we have to be whatever it's required of us to be whatever gender we were born as or whatever. But why? The whole point of freedom of spirituality is supposed to be to free you of these mental constructs, to free you of the concept of restriction, and to create freedom within your own mind. So like, why is it that you're just creating more restriction through your spirituality? Why do you feel the need to push that restriction onto other people as well? That just seems unfair to me. Like, fine, if it's your spirituality, go ahead and follow it. But don't expect other people to agree with you, and don't expect other people to adopt that viewpoint, because that's unfair. And like, that also begs the question, just why? Why do we have to conform to your view of reality? Why do we have to conform to these beliefs? Why do we all have to conform to these beliefs, these negative beliefs, your negative worldview? I had more to say on this subject, but I'm gonna be quiet for a second so that I can let my thoughts flow and remember what I had to say, because it's hard to remember at the moment. Oh yeah, I remember. Okay. So, isn't the whole point of spirituality to direct our attention away from the body and towards the soul and not focus on the things that make us identify with the body? And that's a common spiritual belief that everybody holds. There is no spiritual sect or religion or understanding which I've seen that differs from this concept. Everybody believes it, but everybody has different ideas of how this should work and how people should go with this. But that begs the question, that spiritual understanding that we should be focusing more on the soul and the body begs the question as to, if we're supposed to focus more on the soul than the body, then why is it that it's a requirement? It's a spiritual requirement for us to identify as the gender that they assigned us to at birth, and not the gender that your soul takes shape of. See, there's a huge flaw. That's a huge flaw in their logic, in the logic of people who think like this. Because you can't focus on the soul at the same time as identifying with the part of yourself with parts of yourself. Well, I mean, you can, but if you know in your soul a truth about yourself, then overly identifying with the part of yourself that doesn't feel true in your reality is just going to cut you off from the connection of your soul, your connection to your soul. So how can you say that that's wrong? How can you sit here and say that we need to have a connection to our souls while trying to cut people off from their connection to their souls? Cut people off from identifying with their souls. It really doesn't make sense when you actually give it some thought. Anyways, I think that's going to be about it for this video. I'm about to make another one, but I kind of want to make multiple videos about this trail and make multiple parts of it, of me walking it. So I'm going to end this video and start up another one pretty soon here. Another thing that I wanted to say is that while I'm walking this trail, there's like history signs and stuff like that explain the history of this trail that I want to stop and read, because I think that it might be interesting for some of the my viewers to maybe know the history of this trail and know the history of the places that I visit. So I'm probably, whenever I'm traveling or hiking a trail or something, and I see like a sign explaining the history of a place, I'm going to stop and read it during the video so that everybody can understand the history of this place. Actually, you know what? That's kind of boring for me, so probably what I'm going to do instead is whenever I see one of those signs, I'm going to put the camera on it and show and basically just put it on there for like a good few seconds, show it on the camera for a good few seconds, and allow people to just pause the video and read it for themselves. That seems like a better idea to me, because I don't like stopping and reading stuff. It makes it hard. It's just hard for me. Oh wow, look at that! Look at that bird! So pretty! Oh my god. I love him. He's my favorite. I think that's a crane. I'm unsure though, but I'm almost certain it is. Wow, so beautiful. Look at him flying. That's amazing. Anyways, I'll see you all later. Have a beautiful day. Blessed be. Peace, and I love you all.